In today's brief video, I want to take a moment and answer a question left by one of our community members on a recent post that I made about sobriety and traveling. The person said something along the lines of, "Genuine question, it looks like you went to Europe on a cruise. Isn't being on a cruise one of the worst places or really hard for someone who's sober?" And my answer to that is simply no, it's not. It's not hard at all. It's actually very easy. And in today's video, I want to talk a little bit about why it's so easy for me and hopefully share some tips and mindsets with you guys to help you out if you find yourselves in situations that may seem to be challenging when it comes to sobriety. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Dr. Frank. I'm the founder of AddictionMindset recovery coaching programs, which are dedicated to helping people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and adult media content, substances I once struggled with. To learn more about our free and paid program resources, be sure to check out the pinned comment or the video description at the end of today's video. So yeah, you can see behind me, I think that's Portofino Bay, somewhere off the coast of Italy. And I'm traveling on celebrity cruises. We're on this massive ship. It's called the Ascent. And it was literally, it cost over $1 billion to build this ship. And to this person's comment, yes, there's alcohol everywhere. There's people smoking cigars. Almost, I would guess, I don't know, 40% of the cruise has either a weed vape or a nicotine vape. You know, you see people hitting them both inside and outside as you're walking around, right? So people think, well, wouldn't that be hard for someone who struggled with that stuff in the past? And maybe at one point in my life it would have been, but I could say no, not at all. I would argue that addiction was actually very challenging. Being addicted to a substance, being a slave to a substance, emotionally, physically, psychologically, spiritually, if you're into that, that's really challenging, right? Going on a cruise and thinking, when am I going to smoke again? Can I bring this dab pen? Can I bring this weed on the plane with me? How can I get it passed? Can I lie and say it's CBD? How much tobacco can I bring from country to country without getting questioned at customs? You know, when am I going to get a drink? Should I upgrade to the top tier drink package so I can get the Grey Goose and the Kettle One vodka martinis? And how much extra is that going to cost me? And when am I drinking again? Are they going to have drinks on shore? That to me is actually really hard. What's easy to me is getting on a plane and not having to worry about traveling with anything. What's easy to me is being on a cruise like this and not having to worry about going through weed withdrawal or nicotine withdrawal because I didn't bring that stuff with me, which I've had to deal with in the past. What's easy to me is being on the cruise and not having to worry about when am I going to get my next drink. Oh, I got too drunk, now I'm hungover, I'm going to miss the next port, I'm going to miss the activities that I planned for the day. It's easy for me to not care about partaking in all that stuff, right? Waking up, working out, eating a healthy breakfast, getting to go spend an entire day full of energy, energized and happy with my wife and my child, and just go from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. totally sober. That to me is actually incredibly easy. I remember the last time I was on a cruise, I was still drinking alcohol. I remember, you know, on any given day, I'd drink anywhere from probably 12 to 15 drinks. And I remember being so painfully bloated, and then I got constipated on top of it. And it was horrible. Like, it ruined my dinners. It ruined my excursions. It ruined my time at the pool. It was in the Bahamas, that cruise, because I was so bloated I didn't even want to take my shirt off. It looked like I was pregnant. That to me was hard. And I'll tell you, after being sober for a long period of time, I see people and I see the quantity that they're drinking. I see what they're eating. I see what they're doing. And for a lot of people, you can see it in their faces in the morning. They look they're like beet red. They got like broken blood vessels from being up all night, drinking and yelling and doing whatever it is they're doing, you know? And I feel bad because going on a trip like this, this was the part that's hard, right? This is what's hard about a cruise like this. It's expensive, right? You have the cost of airfare for 3 people we had. You have private tours that we did. You have the cost of the room with this is a balcony room with a balcony, okay? You have the cost of food if you want to eat out in a place like that. And then you have the expenses of shopping. So coming up with the finances to pay for all of that, I would say it's not hard, but that's the hard part, right? And then finding time to get away from work, finding time to make sure that your life is running smoothly while you step away for 2 weeks. I think that's what's hard. Going on a cruise and having a good time without drugs, because it's, in my opinion, much easier to have a good time without the alcohol, without the weed, without the nicotine, without smoking. That's easy. And I'll say something more direct to whether or not it's easy. Look, I didn't start here. I didn't start with this process being easy, okay? There was a time in my life where this might have been hard. It might have been hard to resist a drink at dinner or something like that. But you get to a place, and this is kind of what I was saying about other people, where not only do you not care, you don't care about alcohol, you don't care about weed, you don't care about smoking, you don't care about the drugs. Like it's like, imagine if someone put chocolate cake in front of you, but you didn't like chocolate cake. Like imagine it, like you were allergic to chocolate and you hated the way chocolate tasted because you prefer vanilla cake. You wouldn't care. Like you'd be like, oh, I don't even want the chocolate cake. I don't like chocolate cake. That's what it's like for me when it comes to alcohol and tobacco and in cannabis products. I just don't care. So you could be around it on a cruise, but there's also a lot of other stuff that you're around, right? You have excursions, you have activities outside, this ship has a mile-long walking path on it with crazy scenery, right? You can see a little bit of the scenery that I get when I wake up and walk around in the morning. It's wild to me what you can do and what you can appreciate when you're sober. There's activities, there's theater stuff, there's shopping, there's other things to do that don't involve substance use. And by not using drugs, you're clear-headed enough to enjoy those things, you're energized enough to enjoy those things, and honestly, you save money and time to do those things, right? So I think this is much easier. Now, back to the question of when does it get easy though? Like when does this become easy, being sober on a cruise? It becomes easy the moment you realize that there is no longer any value in the alcohol, in the weed, in the tobacco, in the nicotine products for you. The moment you realize there's no longer a benefit there, that it's only a detriment, that it's only taking away from all this beautiful stuff, that's when it becomes easy. For me, when I was addicted, life could get very dark, right? The world got very, very dark on me many a time. And I wanted to get away from that world. I didn't appreciate the world that I had created for myself because it was shitty because of addiction, right? And now, having cleaned up myself, having done very well for myself in business, having fortunately a wife who also works very hard and has done well for herself, life can be quite enjoyable when all I had to do was stop destroying it, was stop ruining the opportunities that were sitting right in front of me. It was literally that simple at the end of the day. And once you do that, no, being sober isn't hard. And I've said this before in other videos, sobriety is not on my mind. Like, I'm not someone who walks around thinking like, oh, I want to drink, I can't drink, I want to smoke, I can't smoke. If you knew me outside of this channel, you would know me as a business person, someone who loves talking about business. You know me as a family person. You know me as a fitness person. More lately, you get to know me as someone who travels. But sobriety wouldn't be part of our conversation because I'm so far detached from the idea of being sober. It's nothing. It's like the person who doesn't like chocolate cake. And you get to that point by recognizing that there's no inherent value in these drugs. And actually, I'm at a point now, later on in my life, where I see people doing those things and I feel bad because I can actually see ways in which it's taking away from their quality of life. And look, I'm not saying everyone. People can drink and have fun and smoke and have fun. That's fine. But there's a lot of people where it's actively taking away from their quality of life, and you can see that. You can see it on a person physically. You can see it on a person financially. You can smell it on them. You can see it in their mood. You can see it in their physicality and their energy levels. So no, I actually feel bad. I pity people that are in that position who have to come to a place like this and have to get intoxicated to find enjoyment in this. I actually feel bad for that person. And if if that person is you, I would love to help you out. So despite being away on vacation, I am a bit of a workaholic. I do love what I do. We have our one-on-one addiction recovery coaching programs. We have our Addiction Mindset School community. We have our Kick It, Crave Less chewing gum, which I have been using on this trip because, you know, I get stressed when we're going on excursions and you got a baby and a wife and all your in-laws with you. It's kind of like it can get stressful. So I'm chewing my gum. I've chewed a decent amount of my gum. That does help to take the edge off. Kick It, Crave Less chewing gum. You can find all that information in the pinned comments. If you don't want to buy our stuff, just check out the free PDF and the free workbook on quitting smoking. Really, the information applies to any addiction. If you just change out the words weed and nicotine to alcohol or whatever, assuming you don't need a medical detox. If you're like raging alcoholic, then, you know, don't go cold turkey. You might need a medical detox. So yeah, check that out. But anyways, pinned comment, video description. I'll make another video, I'm sure, while I'm traveling. If you guys got questions or something you want me to talk about, feel free to ask, okay? I'm happy to answer them, and it's kind of cool to make videos with this view in the background. I definitely don't get this opportunity back at home. So until next time.